Welcome to the point of darkness.
On the edge of a cold northern sea stood a forgotten fishing village where storms arrived without warning and fog crawled over the water like living smoke. A fisherman named Arthur lived there alone in a crooked house beside the pier. The villagers feared him because he sailed at night when no sane man touched the sea. No matter how violent the storm became, Arthur always returned with nets full of fish. Old people whispered that the ocean fed him in exchange for something terrible. One autumn evening, a thick fog swallowed the coast. It stayed for 3 days. The water near the docks turned black, and even the gulls vanished from the sky. The elders spoke about an old trawler that had sunk 40 years earlier during a storm. Every sailor aboard disappeared, yet no bodies were ever found. Arthur laughed when he heard the story. On the 4th night, he carried his lantern into the boat and rowed into the fog. The sea was silent. No wind moved across the water. Arthur could hear only the groaning of wet wood beneath his feet. Then something knocked against the side of the boat. One slow ooder, then another, then a third. Arthur lifted the lantern and saw a pale hand rising from the water. Rotting weeds hung from the fingers. The hand twitched once before sinking back beneath the waves. A moment later, an old life ring floated beside the boat with the faded name of the lost trawler painted across it. A deep moan came from under the boat. The boards trembled violently. Arthur leaned over the side and stared into the dark water. A swollen face slowly emerged from the depths. Its white eyes stared without blinking, and its mouth hung open far too wide, as if the drowned sailor had spent decades screaming underwater. More faces appeared beside it. Then dozens. Silent corpses surrounded the boat and watched him without moving. At that moment, Arthur understood the truth. His father had once been captain of the missing trawler. During the storm, he locked the crew inside the cargo hold and escaped alone. The sea had remembered the betrayal, and now it wanted payment. Dead hands grabbed the edges of the boat. Arthur struck them with a hook and tried to row back toward shore, but the fog never ended. Suddenly, he saw the distant lights of the village and screamed for help. Instead of a cry, freezing seawater poured from his mouth. The corpses dragged him beneath the waves. The next morning, villagers found the boat empty. The nets were packed with fish, and a rusted key from the trawler's cargo hold lay at the bottom of the boat. Since that night, people hear 3 slow knocks on their doors whenever fog covers the shore. After the knocking stops, a wet voice whispers Arthur's name from the sea. A week later, a boy entered Arthur's abandoned house near the pier. Salt water dripped from the ceiling, and the rooms smelled of rotting algae. On the table lay a soaked journal open to its final line. "They are waiting beneath the windows for the tide." All was dark. Friends, thank you for watching to the end. If you don't mind, please support me with a like and a subscription. I'll see this and will make more and better videos. Thank you for your attention.